that was approved by the ministry and seal the compartment. All parties, it means the driver, the agent, our people, will all sign the document that they have confirmed that the marking was done correctly. We don't do it behind the back of anyone. And all the process is transparent. We can see the chemical, we can see the volumes, we can see everything, all the numbers are shared, and you must confirm that you are satisfied with the process before we can release. All the parties, they sign and we release them. The QC that we have a QC department, a quality control. In SIGPA internally, it's a separate department to confirm that our process is done correctly. It means monitoring the operation. It means that the chemical is in the correct level and nothing has changed. This happens at all the sites and especially at the warehouse, and we have our own separate laboratory to confirm all of it. So before any product goes from the warehouse to a site, we confirm that this product has been tested and it is confirmed. We take random samples from the site itself to confirm is the chemical correct or not. We have also some cooperation with other agencies. We are under the ministry, but we are not only working with the ministry, since there's other parties that are related to fuel, especially revenue. So SIGPA will verify at the border the documentation that will help to control with ministry, URA, UNDP. Then we have the density. The density will help UNDS to confirm if the product, if the quality has changed. We have volume, verification of the volume. That one will help also the ministry and also URA to see if someone has under-declared or has played around. We also do reconciling with URA and we are on a SCUDA. So every document that comes to us must appear on the SCUDA. We will not work on a document that is just nothing. We must have this document also on a SCUDA, on URA system. That one will help to reduce forgery of the documentation and seeing if there's any difference between what was declared and what we found. Recently, we have, as you see, opened a new office in Malaba. That's a great improvement for the agents, for our people. It means that we can have a better system and also the people around are more comfortable. Thank you.
So that's what happens to the product on arrival at the border. Those are the processes which takes place. The product is marked with the purposes of controlling quality and controlling smuggling and handling that product within the country. Now I'll take you through a few slides with respect to how do we now monitor the quality based on the mark they are putting the product right through the supply chain. In my presentation, I'll give a brief introduction, the areas of cooperation within the process, the benefits of this program, fuel marking program, the product mark practices, and how we do the monitoring operations, and the achievement and the challenges and the way forward. Now, fuel marking is a government program which was designed to control the quality of petroleum products throughout the entire supply chain. It's a program which is implemented under a corporate arrangement between the Ministry of Energy Uganda National Bureau of Standards. In this field marking, under the cooperation between Ministry of Energy and UNDP, we cooperate in the following areas. Quality assurance of the product as it comes into the country. We have labs at the border before the product is marked by SIPA, check its quality, see that it meets the standard. And after that, we monitor the product quality throughout the supply chain in the depots, in the retail stations, and all those gazetted places. Also, we cooperate in the field and laboratory operations as I mentioned. We cooperate in managing the human resource, the staff, the technicians, those who do the work in the field and also at the central laboratory. We cooperate under this arrangement in developing standard sector as Dean has presented you. We do this work together with the ministry and doing this so that we have all the standards relevant in the field that make sure that they're in place. And then SIPA, which provides the services of marking and provision of marker. In those areas, that's how we have this cooperative so that we make sure that the quality shown by the customers meets the standard. Now, what are the benefits? The benefits is offering consumer quality assurance and protection of the product there, which is being dispensed at the retail stations. Because the consumer just brings the thing with the border, he doesn't know what type of product is being put in his vehicle or border. But as field marking, we ensure that we protect this consumer. Without this knowledge, we make sure what is receiving is value for money. So this program has that benefit of protecting the consumer, taking the product at the final dispensing outlets. Also, the other benefit is control market practices. As the Commissioner said, fair trade will be challenging whether when some other companies are meeting the standard and others are not meeting the standard but selling the product lesser price. So the program itself ensures that all players in the field are competing fairly. There is no market practices involved in their trade. Also, this program benefits the consumer, protect the damage of the engines. Because if they are taking products which are adulterated, chances are high that their engine will be damaged. So this program is there to ensure that the public, the consumer, doesn't have this product, this vehicle damaged. In addition, we make sure that taxes the government are paid. In this technology, we are able to take adulterated products, and also with the technology provided by SIPA, we are able to take if a station has done product or has smuggled in product. Through testing, we can be able to establish all those factors at the retail stations. What are the malpractices? The major one these days is product adulteration, which involves illegal mixing. And the mixing of recent, which has been so common in this country, is where they get a cheaper product and put it, the kerosene, most food they use, and mix it with a petrol or diesel, and they sell that kerosene at a price of what? Of petrol. So that process is called adulteration, where they manipulate and mix, where they practically alter the product specification, and which causes damages in the image and also power. The other malpractice is smuggling, where now this product, especially in border areas, to the country without paying tax. So that is most common in some areas around the border areas, the area of Busia, Sita, where this product is smuggled in, and also transit product, one of the other manufacturers, products heading Congo, heading Rwanda, Sudan, ending up being dumped into some of the stations. This product, which is transiting, does not pay tax. So you find that some of those locations where they have dumped these products, the product may be cheaper, and they provide an unfair competition to those who are paying tax. So this program aims at combating all these market activities using the technology provided by sea. Now, during monitoring, we have mobile vehicles with equipment on board. Those who own stations who are here, we have been seeing us every month. We move through all the stations within the country. And when we reach a station, we take a small volume of sample. After taking a small volume of sample, we put it in our equipment. That's one of the mobile labs. With that kind of equipment, which has mentioned XRF, and within 3 to 5 minutes, we get the results there and then. If it is compliant, we print out the results and they sign acknowledging compliance. If it fails, you get a test results like that one. And once it fails, also we print out the results. After printing out the results, we seal off that facility because selling and compliant product. Now, in our monitoring operation, as per February this year, I have not yet analyzed the results of March. We have 3,641 test stations in the report, and every month our coverage is over 86%. And we do that with our mobile vehicles, which we have at the moment we have divided the country into 8 regions. Each region at every moment has a mobile testing laboratory testing the products in all the test stations within those regions. And this is how we have divided the country. We have the Eastern A, we have Eastern D, we have the Central, we have Southwestern A, this is where MASAKA is. Then we have Western B, this is the area of Barara. Then Western we have Masindi Holma. Then we have Masesegeta Western B. Northern and Western, we have this whole area, which we plan to also divide because of the wide area coverage. So divide it so that we can see most of these areas at any time. Within this period of July, this financial year, February, our performance in the test station products compliance is as follows. Eastern region. Eastern region, we had 101 cases of non-compliance, comprising of 71% of entire monitoring coverage. Western, we had 68 cases of non-compliance, giving us 48% overall non-compliance. Southwestern, this is where MASAKA falls. We had 65 cases of non-compliance, giving us 46% with the entire area. Central, we had 39, and then Northern, we had the least. Eastern has perpetually been having a lot of cases of non-compliance over a period of time in this financial year. And as we want to increase our frequency so that we can be able to take those cases of adulteration and smuggling in those areas. Now, offensive. Our Edward has talked about some of the offenses. Now, if it's the first time offender, you are given a fine. First time offender. Second time, you will be given a fine with the warning, being according to the grace package of your marking conduct. If you persist, then your license will be suspended. And then, if we get to the fourth time, there is no revocation of license, and then we continue to further take you report. So, according to the grace package, we go through all this, warning you, penalizing you. But because some of these people, the challenge we are phone, I'll mention about the challenge. But as per our monitoring schedule, we have managed to bring all, if you combine all the non-compliance with the country compliance level, we are at a level of 99% compliance, covering 86% of the pay stations as per macro. Now, for one of our achievements is continuous training of our staff. 6 parts basically major in that one, as they update the software, as they improve the technology, training has been going on consistently, so that we monitor, we rely on technology as per our field operations. Our lab has been recognized. We are timely delivery of reports. During testing, it takes only 3 minutes. We give a report there and then, but also we compile reports for the entire, for the OMCs, and every month we issue those reports for all the tests for each OMCs, their headquarters. The program and the monitoring schedule, there is high level of integrity, because the whole process of monitoring involves taking the samples in the presence of the owner. We test in the presence of the owner, and then if it has passed, we print out the report which is signed. Signing, acknowledging that he has observed the process of sampling, he has acknowledged the process of testing, he acknowledged the result which has come. Now, if it's a non-compliance, then we see the acknowledgement of the president. His product has failed. So there is high integrity in the entire supplies, in the data monitoring system. We have actively now 7 mobile apps we intend to add on. There's great response from the public also to the issue concerning quality because of this awareness campaign. Like for this week we have in these areas, we began on Monday, visiting different areas, sensitizing the public, talking to station owners. We have been attentive, we have been yesterday we were in Zimbabwe, we have been moving all over this region, sensitizing and causing awareness to the public and the authorities on issues to do with quality and quality. Challenges. You know, this I talked about those who change ownership. Now, some of the utilization owners, once we have got them non-compliance, the second time they go the next stage, they shift and change owners. But we have all these locations within our system. Whereas you change, even if you have changed owners, you have these locations within our system. And we have GPS systems in the database, which can be able to identify that although you have changed you have not followed the procedures of licensing, your phone is some of the test stations mix accidentally during offloading. But in case those who are here, in case you have such challenge, please notify us so that we can come and take samples to help you correct the problem you are facing. If you require that we come, you shall come and just see more. Then also, the other challenge which I talked about is the problem of seeds. Some, when they are non-compliant, and we tell them to report, they don't report, they just go ahead and break themselves. But we are here to inform you, just but don't do it because the enforcement team will do a follow-up and they will get you, and that will be the penalty you get out of that. Way forward. The fuel market program has enabled monitoring of quality of fuel throughout the entire supply chain very fast because this product is fast selling. So we are making sure that we reach every place very fast because what the product you may have this week, after 2 weeks, is a different product. We are increasing our capacity, adding more equipment so that we reach every place in order to find some product and that. Thank you so much. At this moment, I will invite Mr. Kapele to give the final presentation about quantity of products sold at the stations. Mr. Kapele,
I will display these products. In case of any challenge, in the case of you have challenge, you have seen bad practices, you have noticed some people dumping, you have noticed some stations adulterating, please call on those numbers. We shall be able to respond and come and address those challenges that are identified together with you. Whenever you call, I know which mobile team is in the region, I contact them, then I refer to the person who has called, we shall be able to respond to those areas.
Good afternoon.
My voice. I introduce Inspector at the Uganda National Bureau of Standards. And I'll be taking you through the role of legal metrology, fuel monitoring. First of all, I would like to introduce the word metrology. It's a word which is often confused with meteorology. Meteorology is to do with weather, not what we're talking about metrology, which is the science of measurement. Incidentally, the word measurement has the word sure in the middle of it. So we have a saying that measure is known. So measurement gives us that certainty that we know what we are dealing with in terms of quantity. And when we do that correctly, we are able to make decisions which are scientific, they are founded, and most times they will be correct because we understand what we are dealing with. So metrology has three sections or branches. We have the scientific. Being a science, it relates with the measurements that relate with concepts of nature, and therefore the scientific it happens in the laboratory. It helps us understand to give the definitions of what we are measuring. Maybe we are measuring time, we are measuring flow, we are measuring light intensity, many aspects and many quantities that we measure. That is scientific. It happens in the laboratory to help us get one reference for the measurement. And internationally, each quantity is understood and it has a reference that we use. Now, once we have that one reference, we use it in industry. In industry, to be able to produce items on the same level. When I talk about centimeter, for instance, here in Uganda, it is the same thing someone in America will be talking about, the same thing another person in China will be talking about. And in this case, when we talk about a liter, we are all talking about the same thing. So in industry, it will flow, and everybody will be able to produce items with the same reference. When measurements now apply to society, where you do not have the experts, the scientists who do the measurements, who quantify, you get the users who are benefiting from it as laymen, people that want to measure and quantify. Then we have the branch which is legal metrology that is enforced and governed by law and establishes penalties for breach. It is that branch of metrology, for instance, that gives you this quantity in the maybe of water. If you look at that bottle, you're going to see 500 mils. You don't just place that 500 mils there. They are controls that relate to it. So that quantity is governed. Even the font of that writing is controlled so that when you look at it, you are able to see the real declaration that is there, and you are able to differentiate it from other quantities that are referred to on the same product. Now, in Uganda, when we do legal metrology, when we administer legal metrology, the intention is to protect society against the effects or the consequences of false measurement. If, for instance, instead of if we declare the 500 meals, the actual quantity here was maybe 700 meals. Someone who is loading a truck will assume a certain package, and then it becomes an overload on the road, will come in, and the other things, there is also loss. Whoever is producing is giving away product where they are input and yet they are not being counted. So we protect society. Now, when it comes to fuel, for instance, you want to fuel your vehicle. You were not there when we were making up the quantities, but an inspector who was knowledgeable in this was there. He administered through legal metrology a measurement that for you, when you ask for a liter of fuel, you exactly get that liter of fuel. And therefore, there must be controls, rules, and penalties for whoever breaches or operates in a different way. And mainly, the typical focus is on fairness in trade. That at the end of the day, you are going to pay for the 2 liters, and whether you took that fuel from petrol station X or petrol station A, you will still get the same quantity. And then therefore you can only play with the prices, the prices, because then where there is a choice that someone will choose which place to take the fuel. Now, there are laws, the primary laws which help us to administer legal metrology are the UNPS Act, which is Cap 210. It provides for who is responsible for this function, and it is UNPS. And the Weights and Measures Act, Cap 84, which provides the requirements and controls for legal metrology generally. We also have some subsidiary rules. The Weights and Measures dispensing pumps, bulk measures and bulk meters and bulk measures rules of 2007, with amendment in 2011, they provide for the specific requirements for legal control of the equipment used in physical metering of petroleum products in support of taxation and fair custody transfer. Now, custody transfer, we are talking about product moving from one person to another. Every time the product moves from, we know that product, for instance, in this country comes from abroad. We are not yet utilizing our own. So when it is received at the pipeline, there is measurement. We have got to protect that the driver who receives it on the truck will be sure he has got that quantity and deliver it. When it gets to the border, we will have government interested in controlling the taxation, and the fuel which has just been described to us is done based on quantities. So at that stage, the quantities have to be considered and they have to be correct. Then when it is delivered to, say, the depot or filling station where it is consigned, at that stage is changing from the driver to whoever is going to deal in it, and that quantity must still be regulated. So these rules are the ones which identify all these measurements right up to the selling point, the dispenser, for you to be able to receive the correct quantity and not to have losses in between. Okay. So our role is to ensure that the quantity determined during custody transfer, that the determination of these quantities is correct. I think I will describe that already. So all the equipment which are used, one have been must be subject to what we call type approval. In type approval, we look at a type of equipment. These days we have new pumps that are coming into the country. They're coming from China. It used not to be the practice in the past. And there are technologies which have come along the way. We look at all these and interrogate, we evaluate whether at one stage we are not going to have the pump being manipulated fraudulently to cheat. And once that type has been approved, you can use this, you can buy, it's allowed to come into the country in the multiples. Then we also verify this equipment, because once it comes in, we want to know whether it is of the type that is allowed. Then when it is installed and it is in use, we know it is a machine, it will wear. And when it wears, either you have more fuel being delivered or less, and therefore we check to make sure that that accuracy is maintained. In between the verifications, we do what we call monitoring of those inspections. We do inspections to monitor whether the controls that we are putting in place are staying and are effective. We verify road tankers once every year. Why road tankers? They are the vessels which primarily bring in the fuel. And when you are receiving, it has a dipstick. That this dipstick should be verified, and it's the standard that is used. We also, as we do that verification of the road tanker, we issue a verification certificate against the calibration chart that comes with that equipment. We have a facility at Bweyogerere in Kampala, in Wachiso, where this is done every year. We also verify the railway weapons which transport fuel, and their verification is valid for 3 years. The static tanks. Now, the static tanks are those tanks you find at the filling stations and then the depots. Previously, these were considered to be for storage. But as it is in the operations, the operators of these facilities think they will trust equipment which is in their hand. So they tend to use them and sometimes fault what has been delivered to them. Now, in Section 12 of the Weights and Measures Act, it's provided that equipment that is used for checking delivery or dispatch are also considered to be, they are deemed to be in use for trade. So the moment you do that, that equipment is for trade, and therefore we verify them, but they have a longer validity of 3 years. We verify the flow meters, those ones twice every year. Then we verify the fuel dispensers, which is also twice every year. We monitor compliance with these requirements at the border, the one-stop border posts. Ideally, the locations where you will find SIGPA doing the marking, you will also find a legal metrologist to ensure that what SIGPA is going to use for checking the volumes before applying the marker is actually a valid measurement. So we are there at those various points where fuel comes in. Then we also do surprise inspections. Our inspectors sometimes come to the stations without announcing, and they check to see whether the measurements there being used are valid, and those ones which have been verified, whether there has not been tampering. Sometimes people break our seals. When that happens, it is illegal and they are prosecuted. We issue licenses. I mentioned that these instruments sometimes fail. Now, to correct, to restore the accuracy has got to be in the hands of competent people. Therefore, we license technicians who do the calibration and repair of those equipment. Why we do that is because these people then become responsible. They are obliged to inform us when they have worked on any equipment of that nature. And if it is equipment which already had our seal, they have got to notify us to allow the breaking of that seal, and a report is generated, and immediately our inspectors go back to make sure that a seal, an authoritative seal, is placed in that place. They also have seals which they apply that are recognized by us, so that we don't have a middle person intervening in there. And when there are issues in the public, we also receive these complaints. We do investigation and prosecution of the offenders. Many times we work together with the police to make these enforcements possible, because we do not have the powers to arrest, but they do. So sometimes we need that collaboration, and we do it. The challenges, one of them is what we call MPO. MPO, basically, if you are to state it rightly, is an undermeasure. That someone realizes that they have been given less than what they were buying. The only problem is that the perception is that the fuel comes from the machine. It is assumed that since I took the fuel from this pump looks like it gave me both fuel, which was little or nothing, including air. That's the perception which has been in the public, which we would like all of us to change. When that pump is operating, it draws fuel from the tank. using there's a unit, a pumping unit, which will draw fuel from the tank. In that unit, before it relays it to the next unit, it separates the air, any air that might have been in the fuel. It separates it. There will always be a breather somewhere to let that air come out. And then the fuel progresses, is filtered, it is then metered. There's a minzani yamafuta, a metering unit, which now gives a quantification. When that unit is functioning well, you get the correct measurement. Now, if there is any variation, there is a provision there to make an adjustment to allow it adjust to the correct measurement. If it is less, it will bring it up. If it is more, it brings it down. Now, after that adjustment, there is a lock that enables you, which you fix and then you apply a seal. That is where our inspectors place the seal. Meaning, you now have a pump which is capable of drawing the fuel, remove air, send it to the mizani, it meters only fuel, and it delivers that to the nozzle. The nozzle is that one which, how is it called in Uganda? Which supplies the fuel into your what? Your tank. In some cases, you'll even find assembly where you are able to see that actually what is there is fuel. You will not see bubbles there. You will only see the fuel moving. So it's not the machine that is giving you air, but there are games which are sometimes played by those who operate those machines. Not all of them, a few, just like we have the few people who don't raise chicken and they go to the neighbors to pick. So even in this trade, we do have those characters. They will do things like you drive into the station, you ask for fuel for 50,000, and then that's when you are connecting with the other pole to plug in. And this person is watching you. As you are busy, a border has come around, they will feed the border on your 50. If you are still occupied, even a second one can go. Then they put back for you the rest. You're going to pay 50,000 and get fuel worth probably 30,000. And fuel, it did not come from the machine, but it came from somebody's head and your complacency. So we advise you that when you go to a petrol station, be like someone who has gone to buy meat. You watch them as they weigh, and then you receive and you pay. So also this petrol station has a price. See the price. Whether another gap is in the billboard not matching the pump price. See that the price that attracted you is the same one which is on the pump. And when you ask for fuel, you watch as they set the amount will show. When he lifts the nozzle, the pump will go to 0. And then they begin. And when he presses the trigger, it will begin counting from 0 until it gets to the figure that you asked. So just make sure that pump is moving and counting. And when they finish, they take back. Don't claim the fuel which is still in the nozzle. Because some people say, it was still flowing, but the machine stopped. That fuel was not yours. That nozzle is made such that that hose pipe is full of fuel. You found it there. When the meter measured yours, it just pushed that and it gave you yours. What is remaining is for the next person. So we need to understand what air is, but the primary responsibility is the consumer needs to know, needs to be alert and observe. We also have a challenge of managers of imports and filling stations who sometimes fail to manage their losses. And when a driver comes in delivering fuel, they want to offload the loss on that driver. And in many cases, we have had situations where the station is claiming the fuel loss on the truck, but the truck has the correct measurement, is verified. Meanwhile, the tank itself is out of calculation. Now, that presents a problem. One morally, you are even able to employ this driver. You're a rich man. If you don't want to be called a rich man, allow me to do so today. Because you are able even to talk to the boss of this person. We have had situations where these drivers complain, it's a genuine case, but the boss of this driver does not want to lose a contract because you are the payer to him, but you are taking what does not belong to you. So morally, it's not correct. Even legally, it's not right. And therefore, if we will find you making quantifications and making such decisions that affect others, and it is you using equipment which is not verified, we shall prosecute you because the possibility to do it is there. The law provides for it. We have had also challenges of lack of harmony on new technologies. Before you know it, a road tanker maybe is bringing in fuel and it has installations on it. You know, the tank that contains fuel is one thing, but it is carried by a vehicle. And then there are things like boosters which are tilting the vehicle this way, that way, so many things. It's a challenge that has been identified even regionally. There are discussions within the East African community, and we are addressing some of those issues at that level. We already have a draft procedure for handling some of these things. However, back home, we need to have harmony in that the process is there. If you get something new, bring it to UNPS, ask for pattern approval. Find out whether this equipment you are bringing has ever been approved. If not, there's a procedure which will be explained to you for you to be able to have this equipment interrogated so that it doesn't become a challenge in the field. The way forward, we're enhancing sensitizations with our stakeholders to continue to know their responsibilities on this equipment. And then we are also adjusting relevant laws and policies on emerging technologies. The Weights and Measures Act that I cited already has a bill before Parliament that is supposed to work on some of these challenges that are repetitive, and maybe sometimes we have to use ad hoc methods to navigate. So the laws are there. We also have a draft regulation for pattern approval to manage these issues. Internally, we are also streamlining consultative channels. We don't want to be all the time pushing you and attacking you with a stick. We want to draw as many people to the point of compliance. The Bureau is focusing more on MSMEs so that we see your business, you are able to talk to us, bring issues to us, and be able to get solutions before we now come. We want to only go out there and look for the hardcore offenders and the ones who are not willing to adjust to what the norm is. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Mr. Boniface. Now we dive into the last session of this workshop where we shall be discussing, taking some of your comments, suggestions from what we have presented, and in case you have any other issues, then we bring it up for our input in areas where you want us to improve, so that we move in this sector in a harmonized way. I'll be taking a bunch of questions and then we shall respond to them together. You put up your hand if you have a question, if you have a suggestion, an observation. We shall bring the microphone so that we can hear your suggestion or your question. Let's begin. Management, I would like you to help us with another microphone. Okay. So you put up your hand, you mention your name and where you're coming from, the title, and then we shall hear from you. I don't see any hand. I assume that people we understood what we have presented, that they don't have any issues in the sector. Yes, so there's a hand here.
Thank you, sir. Superintendent of Police from Kechicha, the Regional Traffic Officer of Greater MASAKA. I have two issues here. One, there had been something going on social media where somewhere, I think in Songa, where some boys were making petroleum, petrol, and they were using it on this motorcycle border. I don't know whether you have come across it and made up a follow-up so that we confirm whether what they're making is healthy for us and for the machine which they are using. Then secondly, you have been talking of dumping petroleum products. But like, I haven't seen where they do it. Maybe there's a way the petrol stations know where to dispose it of. Because sometimes you find out poured this used oil on the road or in the trenches. So I want the guidance there. Thank you, sir.
Another one? The hand side. You mention your name and the company or institution you're coming from.
My name is Godfrey Peter Kudizana, Govini Petrol Station. It's
okay, you can ask in the language.
Nafuna ekizibu abakozi bamwe energy bajja ku petrol station yange ne bakebera amafuta ne bagamba si matuufu. Ina petrol station ekisuka mweru naye bwe baatuwasa ezo ne tuzitwala ne za petrol station endala ate amafuta gajja mwoloka emu twagajja ne mu dipo emu. Bwe bagatuusa ewammwe ne bagakebera ne bagamba gano agavudde ku eno mafu ate agavudde ku ndala mago malungi. Bwe bamala okutulayininga ne batulagira tuggyeko seals. Bwe twakola okuggyako seals ne tuddamu ne tukwata amafuta gennyini ne tugasindika eri mu kampuni yammwe. Ne bagamba malungi nnyo okusinga nagano bwe tujja ku petrol station endala. Kati nali ntumyeyo mutabani wange n'ajjayo n'ampa essimu ya ofisa avunaanyizibwa ebyo ebyokebera amafuta. Bwe nayogera naye ne munyonyola buli kimu basobola okwekwasa busimanyi tanka zino endala zirimu obukyafu. Naye ate ne mugamba amafuta gano bwe banjeemu oluvannyuma nga siiru zimaze okuvaako gwate nga malungi. N'aŋŋamba ajja kunzirira na tanzirira. Kati nina okukola kyawo ate banfanyinga $4 n'ensasula mu Bank of Uganda ne risiti nziyina. N'ezo sappozi zonna risiti nziyina. Kati nkole ntya? Ate nafuna okutegeezebwa nti amafuta bwe gaba mabi nga bamaze okutegeera nti mabi bakufayininga ne bagatreatinga. Naye agange tebagatreatinga just bandagira kujjako siiro otunde. Kyali kituufu? Bwe kibaawo nkole ntya? Kyekibuuzo kyange mwebale.
Yes, thank you so much. My name is Tony Mujeke, the District Natural Resources Officer, Beach. I am appreciative of all the presentations we've had today. Actually, I've learned a lot. From what I've seen, these standards just apply to these non-petrol stations, mostly along the main roads. But we have so many pumps off the road which don't have any of these regulatory requirements. Who tests that fuel? Thank you.
Thank you very much. My name is Joseph Arinage, Town Clerk, Rochelle Town Council in Kibuna District. I want to understand two things. One, the role of local governments, especially town councils, in fuel standardization, other than approving fiscal plans and building control regulations for these buildings. Secondly, there is a stereotype about fuel quality. People would advise only take from Shell, Total, because these ones have good quality fuel. And in most cases, the prices are higher compared to these others whom they say fuel is not of good quality. They even say fuel that comes through Tanzania is bad fuel and unvented compared to fuel that comes through Maraba and Busia, Kenya Sani. How do we tell which quality of fuel to take or not? Share, total, or even my gentleman here, who is also selling good fuel. Thank you very much.
Requirements is a licensing. Organization, ili itanisema kwamba itaanza kwanza. Asa kuuza sisi za kwako na kuleni. Kama kimungu alichochao Mungu kama kwa tamuzi zao kutoka yeye. Wakasoma wakuu wa biashara. Mungu wewe kama kilikuwa yeye ya futi chikumi. Mungu wewe sisi kwa kueleza tumefikia kama nasema ni kama nguvu. Wale watu ni ndio wanasoma wala. Sisi sote pia hapo. Kama ni uwanja. Ora ni traffic. Wale mmoja kwa practice ni. Kama kwa space ndio kufutinga hata mchumi. Aidha ukora filling station leva mwateka ngita kijuzo cha kusi.
For those who are not in Uganda, as we go, we say can he have a lesser space as of the standard information as understood in Uganda. For those who were not here in Uganda, is seeking to a part of the standard having lesser area in the station. Let's have one model of restaurant.
So it's also challenging. I'm from Filippo with this level. So one way to the challenging was but I have a master wakasoka nanga kifaa ya kompyuta na kama mafunzo kwetu waje kushughulika na kuingiliza na mafuchi na hiyo wote hao wale mgezi bora munga baaka ni kaka wakati mbali kuingiza mo after namba tunafanya leo bila doma ukanga kuite.
What he's saying that some of our teams they move with other samples and then they move with the machine wrongly. But if you observe then you put the right product. Let's have one response.
I have two things of the clarification on. One is concerning when these drivers they come, that's the way the person for officer in charge of ecology was explaining about measurement. Sometimes these people they have developed some other things. When they load, there is a way they hold the fuel. They know the mechanism, and you cannot get an officer. Maybe you cannot access which officers to call. Maybe those people of marking or the ones from metrology. They are not readily available. The other one.
Okay, we can raise one to some of these before we take another batch. I'll respond to some of them and then my colleagues also add on some other areas. Which I mentioned about what he observed from the social media, where some young people are making some saying, claiming they are making fuel from plastics. Is that so? Now, I would like to assure you, we are in awareness, and I want also to bring this to your own. We have investigated some of those people saying they are producing fuel from plastics. But actually, some of them are horrible. They get right fuel from the station, they put into their chambers in the system, trying to see they are producing fuel, and then they put in their borders and drive around, but actually they are getting products from the stations, putting into their chambers, their systems, trying to claim that they are producing fuel. That's not true. It's not true. Don't be gone. Because we have checked those products which they are saying they are producing, and we when you have found marker now, they are failing quality. Then they have also marker. You wonder how his system is also being having product with the market. It shows that he has got it from the local market. So please be careful with whatever some clever ones are trying to do. Be very careful. That's why we have society. But some of those making of those claims. Dumping. When I explain dumping, I don't mean dumping of products into the environment. I meant dumping of products not destined for Uganda. It's a good quality product, but does not be known. But being dumped in the station, not in the environment. This product does not pay tax, but it's on the way to Congo, it's on the way to Sudan. It's cheap, and then it's poured into the station, which they sell at a very low price. That's what I meant by dumping of these products. Not specifically referring to dumping into the environment. Now I move to the next one, who was complaining about his station to conceal, pay the penalty. Now we should be very careful. Even if you have 3-4 stations, you will load the product, and then each compartment you are putting in different locations. You say you bought the product from the depot, so quality, but one station is passing, another one is failing. What happened? Most of what happens is what we have found out. Most of the adulteration is done by the transporters. You find the station owners may not know that one of the compartments, all of the compartments have been tampered with. So it is not right to say that, okay, we got the product from the station, coming from the depot. What they do, they tamper with one of the compartment. And you find that one station is passing, another one is failing. That's possible. Then secondly, you may find that when they brought these products, this station had a certain quantity of product within the tank, which was not good. And when they added on, it diluted it. So it depends on what was originally in the tank, on top of what they have added on. In the mixing, it can fail on one location. The other location may have had some good quantity of product. Another one may have had some less product. Now, on topping up, the other one may pass, another one may fail. That is possible. It depends on what was originally in the tank at the station. It depends on what was tampered with, which compartment. So all these factors take precedence. And that's why when now we take a sample for comprehensive analysis into our laboratories, so that we are sure, is it as a result of transit product, it's good quality but doesn't pay tax, or it's as a result of adulteration. Now, all that we do, and our pattern, we did transparently, we pick samples in your presence. That's why we have awareness, so that now when our team comes, make sure that you are there as they take the sample. Make sure that as they it's your sample, they put it in the machine, so that you don't claim afterwards that your sample which was put into the machine, so that when the result comes out, you are sure. In case you are not certain, even I tell those people in the field who come to monitor, you ask for repeating of testing of the results. Also ask them, let's take another sample from the dam, so that you are sure if it has been non-compliant, you are sure that it was my tap fuel, which was non-compliant. If it was okay, then it's all fine. Now, the other one. Now, when you are saying now you picked a sample later on and brought to the lab and then it passed. That one we are not sure. Because what we are sure about is the sample which was sealed by our staff, which was brought with the papers when the sample is sealed. But the chain of custody of other samples that have been picked later, we are not sure you have picked that sample. In case it passes, it can pass, but we are not sure. I've had cases this year where stations managers, they know exactly what they are doing. Now, when we finish sealing them and they pay the penalty, they pick samples and they say, this is the sample that we tested, we brought to your lab with the pass. They pick samples from somewhere else and then they come back later and they claim that they have passed. In fact, last month I had to send a team back to Kenya from Kampala to go and verify again in the presence of the owner. The team went and the product failed again in the presence of the manager. I won't mention the company, but we had to bring back to test again in the presence of the manager. He was claiming, he put samples, they passed. He said, okay, if you have not added in any other store, let's track back with you. We test again, and we tested and we failed and tested. You know, they have monitored us, so they also want to monitor us in the way we test and treat us with other samples. But we are, as we are exercising, we know all these things and we shall speak for you. Make sure that we send the right product, the right way, not manipulate us. You know, as we have been monitoring also, you know, you dealers, you have also been monitoring us. When our team is in Lukasi, those people in the staff have been already been informed. This thing is on the way. Please, when it is found back here, they pump out the product. We know what you are doing. When it is, as long as you know the thing is on the way, in Yanto, those people in the other side, they will start waiting. But we are going to shift even our methods. So what one has does require more equipment. We shall do random, we shall press up. And police is also where you suspect these things are happening. You know, when we leave again, they do the same stuff. They don't have their left, they will come back after 2-3 weeks. But we need our cooperation that we make sure that everybody complies. Other areas I will leave my colleagues to respond to them. Maybe question of or this certain urban area, what respond because of your being in that part of questions.
Yes, Peter?
Yes.
I wanted to give a rejoinder on the people claiming that they are using plastics to make fuel. My name is Bill Biokunda, and I head World Assurance. Now, although we have had quack people writing even TVs that they make fuel from plastics, and yet we find that the fuel they have is actually from stations with a marker. It doesn't mean that you can't make fuel from plastics. We need to be clear about that. One, the process of converting plastics into fuel is called pyrolysis. And we have had it at the
research and academic levels. We have had students at Makerere University doing experimentation of converting plastics to diesel, because the processes they have at laboratory level, you can only get diesel fuel, and it's called pyrolysis. And we also have recycling of used engine oil, where we end up getting diesel. We even have one or two companies. One is in the Buki. They collect used engine oil, clean it, recycle using hydrocracking technique. You end up getting diesel. Also, we have had another company that uses hydrothermal liquefaction using zeolite catalyst. They also convert plastics or used engine oil to diesel. And diesel has been tested. It meets the quality parameters or specifications in line with the Ugandan standard UAS 177 of 2019. This is a harmonized standard according to African pattern states. So, while we have those fat people who claim they are making petrol, the companies that are available here, we have ones that can convert used engine oil to diesel, or diesel fuel that can be used for industrial purposes in boilers and heaters. Otherwise, we do not have here that converts used engine oil into gasoline or PM. I hope it is very clear. The only processes that we have encountered at our level in the ministry is where plastics, students are studying how you can convert plastics to diesel using pyrolysis method. But otherwise, processes of hydrocracking and the hydrothermal liquefaction are processes the people of using the engine oil are using. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Peter. I want to take on two questions. One was from someone from PG, another was from someone from MASAKA. Now, the question was, do we have standards? Remember, I presented, we have two categories of stations. We have a filling station and a service station. This issue of single pumps, we don't have stations called single pumps. So, in a nutshell, I would say we have two standards for a filling station and for service station. And remember, the difference is the size of land requirements. For a service station, we say we need 40 meters by 40 meters. For a filling station, we say we need 30 meters by 30 meters. And the reason is the service offer more services in addition to fueling motorists and other compatible services. Now, the other issue, and I can explain this further in the first. The other was more, and in a session, a more mudial, we saw some head of customer lines. Nagamba session yayinza okubanga alina akataka katono kasobola kulaba bakasitoma abasinga bakoda boda. Ekintu ekyo kiba kisiba olw'ensonga sitaati zino tuzikola mu bukozi bwaffe tulina ekitusinziirako. Okusookera ddala emmotoka zirina okuyingira mu siteshoni ne zivaamu bulungi nga tezifunye buzibu bwonna bwonna. Kati lwekyo sitaati eya 30 meters tusinziira emmotoka tusinziira emmotoka esobola okufuluma obulungi eyingire bulungi. So the basis of what I say, and only if so of use of standard here, we don't have essentially. The job so of Funa, a so I know, there was a accident by the station. So it is over.
maybe in English what he's saying, what he was asking, is there a possibility of people who basically in rural areas who have small piece of land and their customers are basically motorists? We are saying it's not possible. These standards are set because of some reasons. The issue of traffic flow should be addressed when we are doing standards. When you have a smaller station, service station, it means the traffic flow will be inconvenienced. The other question was about, I think, presidential. The fuel of Total Shell is better than fuel from other companies. I think that's not true. All fuels sale in Uganda meets the East African standards, as my colleague Dean showed you. And all fuels entered in the country is tested to confirm Total, fuel from Shell, fuel from any other suffix is the same. What differs is the way you buy fuel. Basically, I'm giving an example of these multinationals. Their overhead costs are more than the costs of these other, not small but small companies. Company X using family members to provide labor at the station. Whereas Shell uses employees, experts. If you look at the amounts of Shell that you so all those are additional investment which they need to go back when they are pricing their products. If you're in Tanzania, it follows the East African standards. So it's the same quality, so quality is not a problem. The quality is brought when you're selling here by doing the devices Mr. Shivas talked about, issues of product administration, issues of dumping, issues of product dilution. That's it.
Maybe let me add on top of what this has submitted. You know, there is also relation what has submitted that some companies add on improvers for performance, for better manning into the ceiling of the vehicle. But when product comes in, those improvers they have added in their interest quantity and they not alter the original specification of the product. But to improve on performance, companies have moved ahead to take away the rumor. Yes. And now when they put in rumor, they increase their prices to make the cost of those rumors they add in. But as far as the basic parameters are concerned, they all meet the same quality. No matter wherever you take fuel off from which company, we are frequently testing them and they all meet the quality characteristics. But because of those improvements they add in, it's a marketing strategy. It's like when you are meeting, you say I eat well, another one put in use mix and put all the other stuff and price you at the higher level, but it's all meat by eating again. Let's have another part of question. Yes, how? Oh, they need some question. Local government.
I have a response somewhere.
Yes.
There was a question on an issue on the drivers who play with the measurements, and then when they are delivering fuel, and then a lack of access to inspectors. Well, when you receive a consignment where there is suspicion, or you know that the measurement that is on the truck has been tampered with or is out of verification, Rule 78 dispensing bulk meters and bulk measures rules of 2007
provides that you then should inform the inspector of such a measurement, so that when you are receiving, you have an interim measurement. When we have done the investigation on that track, we will then tell you whether you are right that it was incorrect or it was defective. But it's not right when you fault a measurement which is carrying an inspector's stamp, while you yourself is using one that does not have a valid verification. That is the clarification I want to bring. Then when it comes to access to the inspectors, we have a toll-free number. I know Mr. Chitimbo promised that you will display them on the board. There's a toll-free number which you can call, and your issue will be received and handled. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is again Emmanuel Tukabirwe, Assistant Commissioner from Missouri Government. There is a gentleman from Tuhura who was asking, apart from approval of buildings and giving the permits, what else should they play in this business? No one said that there's a lot you can play in this business. One, we should look at these dealers as our investors in local governments, assisting them to establish business in our. They are promoting local economy. So the more petrol station or sanitation have, the better for the people. But they also come with challenges which local governments can address, like challenges of labor. Some of these investors have people who are not being paid, their salaries, or they are being overworked. So these people can report to the labor officer to address their concerns. So when they have problems with their employers, you are there to assist them. Two, safety measures. The local people can easily play with these products which are health hazard. In the place I come from, some time back, some people were saying the petrol in their rooms and the children started playing and they got banned. What is the role of the government? One of them is to sensitize the locals on the dangers of misuse of these fuels. Three, our governments will need to come up with bylaws to address your concerns regarding the performance of these government investors in your local governments. For example, can put a bylaw that we're not allowed to sell fuel in a bottle in a village, and it's enforced. And lastly, as I said, you can take advantage of the service stations to get local revenue. Whereas licensing is done by the commissioner in Kampala, but the business is can easily get to our local revenue. I thank you.
Before we take on another battle, some response need add-on. Commissioner wants to have some response then. Yes.
Thank you very much, Peter and colleagues, for the various responses. Mine will be very brief. I think mainly on the first question, the first person, SP, in charge of Greater MASAKA. There was a question which I think we did not respond to adequately about disposal of used oil. And to the best of my knowledge, the stations are required to have incorporated somebody who should be collecting that used oil for disposal. For those of you who have come for activities and activities in Togo, there was somebody from Zimbabwe, this is Wamara, We talked about some of the inspectors who move with children that have issues, and you look around and they put it, it is the one which is tested. I would not know what would be the rationale of such an inspector. But in our presentation, it was also very clear that you need to be very vigilant, so that when somebody has come to test, it is not time for you to busy yourself on something else. Right from arrival to the very time the person has left, be sure that the fuel which has been tested is the fuel which has come from your station and not elsewhere. Otherwise, in the event of somebody doing so and your station is marked as failed, then what happens to the penalties? Do you pay penalties directly to that person? And you are let off the hook? What happens? That is an area that I may have to investigate backwards to understand. You could quietly let me know which of those people that on my team, so that I can do my quality check otherwise. It's because it's very important to cross-check ourselves and know how we are moving. I think that's okay for now on those questions that are covered.
I will add on what he has highlighted also for the chain of process testing the products. Now let me briefly go through the process when the station is found non-compliant. When the station is found non-compliant, it is sealed and papers that there are forms we fill in and you sign, and then you are asked to take those papers together with the sample to the ministry. Now, at the ministry, we find out and identify whether it was due to adulteration or non-consensus. Now, if it is due to dumping or smuggling, we write the report and we forward it to UGANDA, where it will be required the quantity which was found, which was dumped or it was smuggled into your operation. Assesses that and then writes back to us. When they write back to us, so is also in the case of adulteration. Once you are found out and identified, and you are paid, we do the process which calls upgrading, bringing the right specification. The gentleman which was saying, we adding more chemical, bring the prices. If it is due to dumping or advanced product, or small product. If it is due to adulteration, we require you to buy more products so that we can top up and then bring in the right specification. But in the case of my brother, we shall investigate that case, find out what will happen during that process, the process will not that well. And that's why we are here. Let's be vigilant when our teams come. Observe the process. We have given you our numbers. Call or come if you have any ingredients, listen to our process, and we shall follow it up together with you. I've given an example where I followed up together and go back to the station and we test it so that we make sure that we are not just penalized when we have a good product. We do it transparently, we come back and test in case of the ingredients and the person testing the product. Can we take another part of the question?
Thank you so much. I have some. One is about kerosene. When we look back, the is a bit literally the supply chain. Because if you are strict on who supplies the fuel to whom, it will limit to whom they are supplying this fuel. I don't meet the standards, but supply is free, it flows freely. So then that means there's a big challenge. So I would advise that maybe we need to check the supply chain, so that maybe if you don't meet the standards, then you're out of the business. Other than maybe letting us as local governments feel the challenge, because actually they are so much single palm, no license, but they continue piloting. And lastly, if we look at a service station, it is offering other services apart from petrol, diesel, fuel. When you are suspended or closed, but this person or this company still has other services to offer. How can we get out of that dilemma? Should we continue licensing the other services, but it's the same business, or it is closed altogether until maybe situation is rectified? I also need your advice on that. Thank you.
Thank you. My issue is about certificate. My name is from Sena Energy Station. My issue is about certificate for permit. If I pay a permit certificate, all of us we have a certificate of permit. And permit for a certificate, you have an expiry date. If I want to renew it, where did I go? It is my response to check on expiry date or a person from UNDS. Thank you.
Parafera mixing up petrol diesel. Ekintu ekyo baduleva basigaye bakikola. Nze nakirondoola kukukola. Zizo ze mwagambye zigomba kubisaanikira. Naye omuntu agenda okujja okuba amafuta gali asobola esalira kyawaggulu n'akijjako n'ajjamu amafuta gali. Ekirala kye mbadde mbuuzaako kubanga tekintuka ekyokumikisinga amafuta bannannyini siteeseni babadde bakyagala. Naye tusobola okufunayo kubuuma obwasenyi lotono ekubanga busobola okubeera ku siteeseni oli bwajja ebisobola tukeberako tesitebadulaba nakyo nekiba kirungi kubanga gambye n'emmotoka emu ereetedde amafuta naye siteeseni emu gabadde bagamisinga dulemba abanga yakoze ekintu ekyo kasanga tufuna kantaako tuba tuyambiddwako tulaba nje tulaba obuntu obwo obwa laisiko.
Erinnya lyange nzikama David eyo mu mpiki. Ekisooka kyenjagala okwogerako ye saizi ya landi. Nga landi zinakubeera in square shape, naye landi ezimu zirira ekitambula. Yinza okusanga sayidi emu tugambe ebifuuti 7 8 endala esukka ate ku 10 ng'eringa 2. Poloti ey'ekikanga ekyo eba ekkirizibwa eyitamu. Ekyokubiri, waliwo gurupu y'abantu abajja muletwalira ne poliisi bajja ku seshoni zaffe ne basaba ebiwandiiko ebimulasira lwola kati biriiko baagala bagende n'abakozi. Abakozi nitubaterawo okugenda nabo bonna bamuna kasenge mu bwangu babatwala ebintu ebyo okumwe mu bikola oba bafere abatali bafere tunaabamira ku ki ne tubawulamu batali bafere. Ekyo nakyo kibuuzo. Ekyokusatu, waliwo ekibuuzo bayogedde ekiri 25 currencies. Ekyo kibuzaabuza kitulesooka eky'omuntu amenya amateeka non-compliance. 25 currencies kitegeeza ki? Kubanga nze lumu basimalako station ngera amafuta ndoza gaali gayegase kiyinza okuba kyali ku motoka yagaleeta naye bajjali bagatwitinga kyonna kiraba naye nasooka sente ziwera mu miliyoni ennya ezo ze 25 currency musezi lutegeera zisente mmeka ne 48 currency byebiki ebyo tubuzaawuzisa ekirala kiri ku kantu kano kemugamba ka quality improver akalongoosa omutindo oba nammwe mukalaba nga ddala akalongoosa omutindo bajja mukateera amafuta wali ku booda fena netunda the fuel of the same quality lwaki kampuni ezimu zigala bati zitunda amafuta malungi ate ezaffe ne zitunda amafuta agatali malungi nnyo lwaki mwe temukateekamu yo byebadde ebuuzi.
Let's have one more then, next one.
Nze ssebo amannya Shema Alex Mbakina. Nze kyembuuza oba kyenjagala okusaba komishona lwaki mwagambye zino single pump mwe temuzimanyi ne lwaki single pump temuziricognizinga nimutuyamba nimutukolera certificate yaffe kubanga zino simple pump zigenda that deep in the village ate mutulaga nti ffe tetuliiwo zino pump stations ennene zitotal zaani zikoma ku highways naye ate ffe abagendera ddala mu kyalo ne twala service so we are service providers. Then ekirala mwagambye nti tetukkirizibwa contaminating amafuta netugateekamu ekintu kyonna naye ate netukikkiriza naye ate nomwanvuga nti waliwo stations zo ezikkirizibwa okuteekamu ebirungu tetwabitegedde ate nga the first mwagambye nti standards zirina kubeera nga zikola zipromotinga fair trade. So ebyo birungo ebikkirizibwa okuteekamu twali tusaba naffe mu bitutangaazeemu tubimanye. Thank you.
I'll begin with the last one. The additives, the standards allow additional additives in minimum quantities, and those additives are approved by the ministry. You don't just wake up and add anything claiming to improve the performance. They improve the performance, but they don't alter the characteristics of the product. They enhance the cleaning, they enhance the conversion, while making all the other parameters constant. Can't just do something unionizing, improving our performance. They do something. We have measured it, we have carried out comprehensive analysis, and they meet the standards. The additives are approved and added in quantities which are known and certified by the ministry. You don't just get up in the morning and add in anything to improve the performance before testing and getting confirmed. Nyakuda huyo mwami who I'm going to follow up that issue of where your product was not upgraded. Mafuta kwa mataro was urubani blocks place. I'm going to follow it up. That is the channel on that particular businesses. But I want to get what the numbers are missing. In case of site businesses, reach out and let us know so that you are handled fairly. If you are handled unfairly, we shall reach out and see where we went wrong. There is a gentleman from Bomba who looked about quality, he sees the quality team, but those who verifying the pumps, Mr. Boniface can give some highlight. It is they have taken long without seeing a team from in disqualifying the pumps?
There have been some challenges. It is true our teams didn't move in that season. But as we talk now, those teams are out and they are already moving around. The teams are already moving around. Even in MASAKA, they are already being here. So there should be no worry. The gentleman from Gomba, he will soon be reached. Thank you.
I want to give some clarification on the currency point of 25, 45, some of us clarification. Take it at 25 currency, 45 currency. A currency point is 20,000 shillings value immediately. Now, it depends on the volume which is in your term. We multiply by the volume times the pump price times that factor. But the mafuta kwa liter 10. Pump price should be multiplied with the volume, the take currency point plus dollar man the penalty to cover. Now the currency point is 20,000. Should increase 45 multiplied by 45. Then with some volume, with some pump price, the penalty goes. A currency point 20,000 shillings is a currency point. We come back 25 currency times having a term, which for you plus the volume times the volume times the bank price. Take a look. Yes.
But currency point Minister of Energy oba omuntu ebiyisi yagirambise wabula gavumenti ya Uganda eteekawo amateeka agateeka currency point eki era mu mateeka agasinga bw'okebera obutabo obulambika amateeka emabegaawo waliwo nti currency point kitegeeza emitwalo 2 kati olwebagamba kino ogenda tusula currency points 2 ku kintu kitegeeza ogenda kudda emitwalo 2 times 2. Yes. Wachanga tukisana mtazamira mtangazo esenti nofuna.
Thank you very much. The issue of land size is a big issue. Where my discussion was, I said the filling station is supposed to be 30 meters by 30 meters. The service station is 40 meters by 40 meters. But again, 30 meters and 30 meters, so 9,000 square meters. So what happens? The frontage, what remains constant is the frontage. The front is a must, has to be 30 meters. Reason allow traffic is a flow of traffic in the station. But the other meters can change as long as the total area is 900 square meters. The same applies to a service station. It's a must. Frontage is supposed to be 40 meters, but the total area should add up to 1,600 square meters. The other side of the converted by the total should be 16 square meters. 1,600 square meters.
I can sense that our energies are getting low. That is the difficult. That's my sense. But let me a few areas, some of the questions which are not yet addressed. The issue of town clerk, town council. why are we allowing kerosene to be still sold at stations, notwithstanding the developments of soil consumption? For us at the center, we still see kerosene being imported. For you at the local level, if you are seeing that in the Rakai Town Council, there are no people who need kerosene. That's what the brother was saying. Then you can put a bylaw that in the Rakai, no selling of kerosene at any people start. Okay? Because you are there in that area. That is the kind of thing. But then allow those who are buying kerosene for bakery, for whatever, to go and use it if they are not using it for cooking. But that's the kind of thing. So really, we cannot say that you in the cover lane, wherever you are not going to sell kerosene on the station, but you at the local level, if you see that now kerosene is no longer needed in your area, you can put a bylaw, and you have those powers. Mushrooming single pumps still operating, and then that goes back to the cooperation that we need and we have. Single pumps, mushrooming and whatnot. There is nothing like mushrooming. Mushrooming means that they are coming up unplanned. That's what, because mushrooms simply come. So mushrooming means that they are simply coming up unplanned. But you have district planners. So would it be a fair statement from somebody who has a plan saying that things are mushrooming in your area of jurisdiction, kindly prevail over them? Let's see that whatever is coming up is according to the plan, the zoning plan that you have had and whatnot. And in case they are, then we can cooperate to see how to handle. Tying it with another question, why are we not recognizing single pumps? We implement laws. The laws we have are looking at a filling station, a service station. Those are the one two categories that this has just even talked about. We do not have something about a single pump. If the filling station wants to begin with one pump, right, it is okay. But it is a what? A filling station, work in progress. You have begun with one pump. So the standard is for a filling station, but progressively you've begun with one pump. So the standard should be meet at the minimum the filling station requirement. I hope that also clarifies where we are coming from and where we are. Right? That's the kind of thing. Then the service stations, in case they fail, they have issues and they are closed, what about the other services? For us as a ministry, when we are licensing a service station, we are licensing a service station, yes, knowing that it has like a service bay where you can go to check your oil and whatnot. When they have issues, if the station is not licensed or have issues, what we are closing mainly is the fuel area. It doesn't mean that one who has got a puncture, you cannot pass there and you have your car worked on also. No. It doesn't mean that if it has extra services that have been permitted by the local authority or the supermarket, that the supermarket should also now do what? Close. The one we're talking about, fuel business. So I hope that also clarifies that aspect. There's my sister from Mutesi Maureen, who was asking about certificate of permit, which is expiry date. They have the expiry date. Now, whose responsibility is it? I may put it back to you. Indeed, whose responsibility is it? If you come for a construction permit and it is 5 years, we've issued it properly. You are the one constructing. At the expiry of it, you have not finished constructing. The onus is on you to come back to the licensing authority that these people of mine are actually doing what? It is expiring and I have not yet finished. Or it is so it is up to you. In fact, the Petroleum Supply Act requires like operating licenses, the applications to be made 3 months before expiry. So you wouldn't expect the commissioner to be calling you that look, your license is about to expire. Suppose you have taken it upon yourself to get out of business. Yeah? Suppose you are no longer interested. Why am I bothering you? Right? But you as an interested party, those kind of things, please take it upon yourself to ensure that those things talk somehow. Then those people are not taken. Are they from us? Are they from wherever? Are not taken. Are they from us? Are they from wherever? I have not said such a people. I have not said such a people. People are here. They move in an area. They first report to RDC as head of security in the area at the minimum. To inform the RDC that now we are in this area and enforcement activities. They may also have a courtesy call to the, let's say, the town clerk or whatever, the county to inform them. But sometimes they don't, because apart from those, some of those are more precise. You find that the station which is operating in an old reserve belongs to a brother of a certain cow or something. And therefore informing this person before he goes and says, now you know maybe which area, which route, this may not be vexed. So sometimes deliberately, those are some of the things we need to understand. And so sometimes we may suspect that some of those people are more precise and therefore not informed you because we want to be impromptu. But the head of security in the area is what? Is informed, is in the know. And this, if they are the ones who are demanding to go with workers for what? Because if we have sealed the station, we have sealed. If we are taking a case to police to report, we are taking it to police to report. It does not need to go with a worker. So for me, I can say for my case that there is none of the team who are in the field that would be demanding to move with the workers from the station. Okay? I think that will become so. Those ones might be from other areas, but not from Florida. Enhancers with additives, why do they not apply at the border? We cannot, because as he has said, if they have made the minimum standard, that's what we are. But the sector is competitive. So if somebody has looked at his area and said, now for me, I'm better off adding something small and attracting a certain client, and you go for it, that is okay because you have gone for that additive. Another one is also very comfortable with that minimum standard and is performing very well. So it would not be possible to put like a directive or whatever that all fuel will be improved to this level because that is an improvement. That is not possible. In any case, it will again be improving price all across. The same way, we cannot say that the minimum wage of your worker at the station should be this. So for me, at my station, I can pay whatever, another one will pay that, and therefore when you do your balances, you get to know that, okay, I break even at this point, let me be able to sell at this whatever, and then be able to stay in this competitive market. So we will not be able to dictate how much you are paying your workers, and therefore even how much, the quality that you must enhance it to this level as much as it meets the minimum requirements. Thank you very much.
Let me add on something small about testing of products on the truck upon arrival at the station. We encourage dealers or station owners to have hygrometers so that you do self-testing of your product as they arrive at the station. Because what I know is that on the delivery note, there is a testing of loading of the product on the depot. If you have these hygrometers, you can also measure the nest upon arriving at the station. You may need a converting factor because of temperature difference, but we are ready to assist you in that. Once you acquire these hygrometers, we can avail you tables to conversion so that you measure at 20, look at the nest at 20 from loading, nest at 20 upon arriving. Now, when you see a variation, then you suspect that product has been tampered with along the way. So we encourage you to do self-monitoring. These are the companies who we are saying they are up quality prices, even their good laboratories. Check the products on arrival at the depot. Check the quality of products upon arrival at their stations. In addition, to avoid challenges like my brother had delivering different products at different stations, but others are passing and others are failing. I would advise you also, because we are there monitoring your stations every month. Now, what we advise you is you pick a sample from each compartment upon arrival. Keep it in case our team comes and they have found out that the tank has failed. Then you give them the samples you took in the course of the month from different trucks of delivery to know which truck exactly to provide you with the plant product. Because this is happening along the way. They happen along the way and the station owners don't know. But we assure you that if you do that, then we shall be able to help you identify those trucker drivers who are tampering with your product. So that we be able to zero down. We shall help you in the investigation so that you have a good product, so that you also you are sure what you are saying is the standard. We are running out of time. We need to take our lunch and bring the close of this workshop. There is no money issue left. Our numbers we have given you, you reach us as from those numbers. We are still around in the region, we have been moving in the region. We are still in the region even tomorrow. Tomorrow we are to share here in MASAKA. We are always available to bring you the service here. Any challenge you have, we are approaching people to come to our office, call us. Whatever challenge you have, we can be able to work together. And on that note, I want to invite the DD to come and do this workshop. Thank you so much for your attention. We have taken note of all your issues, and we promise to improve with the continuous improvement in every area. Well, that's why we have come to hear from you. We have taken them in good faith. We are also ready to move in our areas of operation. Indeed, please come and bring this workshop to a close. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Bwana Commissioner, district leaders, dealers in fuel industry, and fellow journalists. Good afternoon. I know we have to get lunch very fast, so I'll be pretty fast. I bring you greetings from Uganda National Bureau of Standards, an agency created to develop, promote, and enforce standards. And this is meant to make life easier for you. One, in whatever you deal in, is competitive, but also is safe. And under that arrangement, our work is to look for ways how we can promote fair trade. And it's for that reason that UNBS partnered with the Ministry of Energy to see that they try to make sure that the fuel that comes in the country or consumed in the country, but also safe for you. And so in that background that we as UNBS we celebrate, because this fits into standards promotion. You see that these standards are appreciated and they work for the safety of Ugandans. Of course, the program has spoken to a number of things. We've known the standards, we've seen the licensing requirements, we've seen the applicable technology, our monitoring programs, the malpractices, and the risk to that. We are also, these few days, which began last Sunday, until end tomorrow, we've been able to approach on radio and in different stations. The whole thing, we want to have an enlightened community where we appreciate each other's rights and obligations, and this area has come up to be in performance. I don't know the side of compliance and compliance. We saw the statistics, Southwest A follows in the southern part at a score of 46. And if you look at the statistics critically, the other part of Western, there's no fuel, if I'm not mistaken, likely to come in. But I think this is a major contributor to the percentage. So it is an awake call to see that all the malpractices therein are dealt with. And for us as the Bureau and the Ministry of Energy, under this program, we shall continue with the fight against substandard oil and fuel in the economy. Of course, in terms of overall compliance level, we noted that it's at 99%, given the coverage of 86. So all these efforts are meant to see that we live in a safe arena. And of course, I'm aware there are two parties here. The consumers want it to be safe. But for the traders, wanting to invest in the industry, but also thrive in it. If you are aware of these regulations, I think it can help you thrive. Before I go to my parting note or tips, I want to say there was a question that was asked about relation between PPDA and UNBS in relation to fuel. Of course, in trying to
enforce standards, we work with different agencies. In the area of fuel, we're mainly working with the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development. We've not got a direct working framework with PPDA. However, with PPDA, we are working with them on the area of low content policy, where we're trying to say that in the areas we have products or services produced, when we are bidding, we want to prioritize our locally produced products. So there's a policy in place. We have also gone as far as linking it to government policy. That is the far we have gone, that our products take the first priority. Finally, I will leave 4 points behind. Number one is that it is a call for want to save Uganda, and we are calling on everybody to take action, to take responsibility, so that we're in a safe arena, where regulators and other people take different responsibilities. Number two, let's not be caught in the act. In that, we now know every information. We are an informed and enlightened community. We have informed, know very well that we are dealing with the informed and enlightened community. Number three is to state that we put in measures to see that things are in place to support standards enforcement and compliance. Of course, we have standards. We heard about the labs, both the recognized lab according to the standard, international standard, but also the mobile labs. We are creating awareness. We have taken, and also we are working on the law, on legal methodology. Let's work together to grow this economy by making it safe and profitable. With that, I wish to say that this meeting is closed.
The rest is requesting we shall have lunch, and you are free to interact with us even during lunchtime in case of any other issues. Thank you so much.
As we have lunch, we have two stations. There is one in the restaurant and one in the so we can invite some family here, some family in the restaurant. Moving service. We don't have to stand in a long line. Let's some move to the restaurant.
Actually, the first two chairs, these tables, they can move to the restaurant. No, can go down to the restaurant. The first two tables, you can move out and go to the restaurant. Then the rest, you can have our over there. Those are the two standing tables we have. Those who have not get a coupon, kindly receive the coupons from the entrance. Yes. That one down here is there giving out coupons. Whoever don't have a coupon, ensure you have a coupon before you proceed to the serving table. Ku mulyango awo wali omukyala agaba kuponesa ekyemisana, togenda ku mmeeza ya mmere nga tolina kuponi eyo kubanga teyo